Hello everyone, and welcome to the Brickformula review of LEGO set 6869 Quinjet Aerial Battle. It has 735 pieces for ages 8 to 14, and it's from the Superhero series brought to you by Marvel, and this is from the movie Avengers, and this set retails for $69.99. And I would like to give a shout out to Lord Vader 3211, Suppin 100, Ash Bailey, Mr. Infamous Fish, Kincat 56, 841 Stone, 8 Master Tiger, Rod Rickonen, Lego Batman Boy 13, Savik Muck, Sonic Lego Productions, Caflo Oop, and Flameboy 262, and they are the subscribers who had requested that I review this set. So everyone check out their channels. And moving forward, here in the front we can see that Loki is about to get it, and down here we have the minifigures, and I'll have more on that later. And here in the back we can see that Loki's driver kind of ditched him, and that doesn't really happen in the movie. And you can see a lot of playable features here, and I'll talk about this set in more detail coming up. Here are the minifigures, and first up is the Foot Soldier, which is one of many in Loki's army, and here he is up close. He's the exact same one that you get in Captain America's Avenging Cycle set, so he is nothing special, even though he gets to fly Loki around personally. And he has really nice details, and you would think that he would be bulletproof too, but he's not. Bullets go through him as if he was made of paper. Next is the Black Widow, who looks really good, and here she is up close. I find it funny how they try to make her look skinny by adding in those gray areas to the sides there, and you'll see it again on the back. But on a brighter note, at least I have Scarlett Johansson in minifigure form, and I guess it kinda looks like her, almost. I kinda wish that the skin color on the chest matches up with the head, but I guess it's alright. My only real complaint is that they didn't give her a pair of guns, which would have been really nice. And she has an alternate face, and that's what she looks like if she lost all of her hair. And as you can see, she's not very happy about that. Up next is Loki, and after watching the movie, I learned that the staff here is totally inaccurate. It's supposed to be about half the size, and it should have this light bluish glowing golf ball somewhere around here. And as you can see, Loki is not very happy that they gave him the wrong staff. Although he does have a pretty nice suit. That is until the Hulk has his way with him. And there's no details there on the back. And this is made of a soft rubber plastic, and there's no alternate face. Now to check out the exclusive Iron Man, and he is in his Mark 7 armor. And here's a quick comparison to the other Iron Man from the Loki's Cosmic Cube Escape set, and here they are. We have totally different printing on both the torso and the legs, and the same with the back. And there we go. And he does get a pretty cool helmet, even though it looks pretty big, but I guess it's better than having a printed minifigure head. And plus, this one you can open up, and there's Robert Downey Jr. going peekaboo, and he has an alternate face where he's having a pretty bad day. And finally, we have Thor, who looks alright, I guess. My wife says he looks hot, but whatever, right? After all, it's not the size of the hammer that counts, it's how you wield it. And here's a close look at his costume, which kind of reminds me of a pinball machine. And there's the back. And he has an alternate face where he looks pretty mean. So there. Do you like me now? And now, before we move on to the Quinjet, I figured it would be a good time to check out this little chariot here. And for the most part, it does seem a little accurate to the movie. It's really hard to make out because these things were flying really fast. But anyway, just to help out with the details here, you could add some stickers. There's one that goes in the front here, which is this one right there, and you get these two to go on the sides right there. But anyway, here's what it looks like all around. Here's a view from the side, and you can adjust it right there if you want, just like that, depending on how fast you want to go. And here's the view of the back, and here's the view of the other side. And while I'm here, I would like to introduce you guys to a new part, which is this bracket right here, which is a 2x2, and it's inverted, and that is part number 99207, and it's currently going for about 24 to 36 cents on Bricklink, and you get 6 in total in this set. And let's take a look at the front here. These parts here are movable and adjustable, same thing with this part right there. And here's a view of the top, and there's the bottom, and we can have Loki stand or sit over here. I think he should sit, which is safer, because this thing doesn't look that safe. And it should have came with a seatbelt, especially with this guy driving. No offense to him, but if you look in the front there are no controls for him to steer this baby. But hey, he's immortal, so what gives, right? And now we can move on to the Quinjet. Finally, it's time to check out the Quinjet, and this is a great looking model, and this is like the money shot that you're looking at. And there is one thing I should mention, and that is you'll have a greater appreciation for the model before you watch the movie, because after you watch it, you'll see that there are some inaccuracies with it, and it might bother you. But anyway, with all that aside, let's just check this thing out. And here it is from the side, and it's pretty big. Over here are the wings that can be adjusted, and they can rotate a full 360 degrees, and it can lift up about that much, and it can go all the way down 90 degrees. And when you have it that low, it won't touch the ground when the Quinjet has landed. And there it is. And this part of the wing can also be adjusted as well. It can lift up about that high and also down 90 degrees. And here's the view of the back. We got a loading ramp, which is a pretty cool feature. You can bring this down, and there it is. And you can fit just about anyone through there except for the Hulk, because obviously he is too big. You would have to calm down quite a bit just to get through there. And here's the view of the other side. And here's the view of the top. Over here I have another access point for the back. And over here are supposed to be some really big turbo fans. And apparently they didn't add that in there, which I kind of wish they did, because it would have been really cool and I can use that for other creations. But instead we get two really giant stickers with the Avengers emblem, which is that one right there. And you get these two to go on the wingtips right there. And you get these two stickers to go on the top right there. And I'll explain what this is later on. And here's the view of the front, which looks really, really cool. And this part can be lifted upwards and downwards. There are only two settings for that. And here's the view of the bottom. And this is linked to that button that I mentioned earlier. And you'll notice that we have landing gear that does not retract. And over here they're missing a machine gun, which I really wish they added that as well. And you'll notice that we have some flick fire missiles underneath the wings, which is really cool too, because the way they come out is really cool looking. And from here you can bring them down like this, and you just flick them away. And the engines back here can also be adjusted, even though they're probably not supposed to. And now to check out the insides. First we'll check out the cockpit, which you can open up just like that, and there's the inside. And right there you get a sticker, which is this one right here. You got a little joystick and a small targeting computer. And I love the way they designed the pilot seat. That's actually very similar to the ones I make for my own jets, so you might find this one to be a little inspiring. And as you can see, the black beetle can attach to the two studs right there. And once you put her in, that's it. You don't have to adjust the way she sits or anything like that, and you can close that up. And now to check out this part of the Quinjet, you can take this off because it's only attached by these two studs right there. And there's the inside. We have two seats and a fire extinguisher. And right here we get a sticker for the control panel, which looks like that. And this is where you can throw in Iron Man and Thor to sit down and relax. Now the thing about Thor is that he has a cape on, and you don't have to take that off just to put him in there, because if you look right behind the seat, there's actually some space where you can slide his cape downward. And the best way to show you is to actually take the seat out, at least until you get the hang of it. And the seat is only attached by those four studs right there. And we'll just have Thor sit right over here, and his cape goes right over that. And while you're at it, you might want to adjust his cape a little bit so that it doesn't get caught. Because if you look over here, there's no space between the seat and the control panel, so you don't want his cape to get caught in there and get folded up. And once you do that, you can just throw him in there. And there we go. And now we can put Iron Man on the other side. And now they can just sit there and stare at each other. Nothing awkward about that. And now to show you guys what that red button does. And if you look carefully, basically if you push that down, it's going to knock out that beige peg from out underneath of the red plate right there. See that? And when you do that, just drop the entire assembly down. And let me show you. You can press it either hard or gently. It doesn't really matter. You'll have the same effect either way. And there we go. You can now deploy the mini jet. And as you'll notice, the assembly drops way below the landing gear. So ideally you want to do this while you're holding this in the air. You can always do it on the ground too, but you can't take out the mini jet, which is this thing right here. And let's take a closer look at that. Basically, once you have it out, you can expand the wings. This way it's fully deployed. And right here in the middle, you get a sticker, which is this one right here. And that should cover all the stickers now. And here's what it looks like all around. And down here we have a piece so that it will help you line this back up to the assembly if you want to put it back in. And to do that, you have to close the wings back up and just slide it right here. Just make sure that yellow piece goes right in between the wings. And there we go. Now to push this back up, you should do it pretty much fast instead of gently, because you do want that peg to catch that plate again. And doing it slower will just make you miss the chance. And see, so you gotta do it fast, and there we go. And not too bad. Now, the funny thing about this assembly is that even though it's really cool, it's not actually in the movie. It's actually supposed to be pretty empty over here. And about that, I will admit that when I first got this, I had intended to modify this into a troop transport, because after all, I do have a lot of good men and they're ready to go. All they need is a ride, and a taxi cab just won't do. So converting this didn't seem like a bad idea until I actually tried it out. So let me just tell you guys what kind of problems you will run into. First of all, I took out the assembly with the mini jet, and it doesn't look too bad inside. And here's the bottom. You still have that gaping hole. So I'm using a 6x6 plate with some 1x6 plates on top of that. And we'll just lock that in there. I do recommend that you take these 1x4s just to hold that in place, because pushing it down will just pop that plate out. And now it turns out that I don't have much access to the middle there. So that means I gotta make the roof somehow come off and make it attached securely. This way I can actually work with the inside. And plus, the wall is actually thicker in the middle there, so you'd have to tear the wall out a little bit. And looking through here, if you look on the bottom, there's actually quite a bit of stuff in the way. So now, that also means that you have to remove this Technic frame right here. You gotta take that out and then replace it with something else. And in the end, it is doable, but just want to warn you guys, it's a lot of customization on your part. And I think that just about covers it. So now we'll move on to the comic adventure. And here it is. This is issue number 4. And let's just get straight to the story. And here we are. It seems like New York is not doing so well, so the Avengers mobilize, and Iron Man gets a head start. And he finds Loki and totally destroys his driver. And Loki is not happy about that, so he shows Iron Man what real power is. And it seems like Iron Man didn't take that very well. So here comes Thor to save the day. And he destroys what's left of the chariot. And then he launches his hammer at Loki. Happy ending. And now we can move on to the recommendations. Overall, this is a really good set, and I definitely recommend getting it. When it comes to the value, we have a price per piece ratio of 9.5 cents a piece, which is really good for a licensed set. And we're getting about $87 to $100 worth of parts here, not including the minifigures. The Foot Soldier is worth about $250, Loki is about $5 to $6, Iron Man is about $22 to $27, Thor is about $12, and Black Widow is about $22 just by herself too. So clearly the value is really good, especially since this retails for $70. And when it comes to play value, it's really good too, because the Quinjet just by itself is a lot of fun. It's really easy to hold and fly around. We have the adjustable wingtips, dual flick fire missiles, we have the loading ramp, the 2 opening cockpits with the control panels inside and some seats in there, and we have the assembly with the mini jet, and we have the chariot too, and we have 5 minifigures all together. So clearly there's a lot of fun with this set, and it's definitely a worthwhile one to get. And that sums up my review. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.